Here's the long-awaited teaser breakdown video, and let me tell you guys, I found something huge. You won't believe this, but at the end of the series, Arisu sacrifices himself to save his baby, allowing the child to leave the Borderland. I'm joking, guys. I just really hope this show doesn't suffer the same fate as Squid Game, because I'd be devastated seeing two of my favorite shows get massacred only 3 months apart. But this video isn't about that. This video is about what all of you have been waiting for. In this breakdown, we'll go over the teaser for Alice in Borderland Season 3. The teaser starts with Arisu giving a statement after the incident, while Usagi arrives at a hotel that immediately triggers a deja vu. The hotel she's trying to check into is none other than the beach house from within the Borderland. It's interesting to see how both of them are experiencing these PTSD-like moments, where flashbacks are blended with reality. It's as if their minds have forgotten the experience, but their bodies remember. We even see Usagi describe it as seeing the same scene over and over. Moving on, we're introduced to some of the characters we'll be seeing in Season 3. We get a look at familiar faces like Banda and Yaba, who chose citizenship at the end of Season 2, as well as a few new characters. I don't know about you, but the girl with blue hair definitely gives off villain vibes. One exciting reveal is a glimpse of Anne. There were rumors she wouldn't appear in the season finale, especially since during filming, Ayaka Miyoshi, the actress who plays Anne, was pregnant with her second child. Because of that, many speculated she wouldn't return. But now, Netflix has confirmed that one of the fan favorites will indeed be back for the finale. Unfortunately, we still haven't received any confirmation about Chishiya, and it's looking more and more likely that he won't appear in the season finale. Nijiro Murakami, the actor who portrays Chishiya, has been dealing with serious mental health issues and has taken a break from acting. While nothing is officially confirmed, the chances of seeing our favorite player are very low. At best, we might get a flashback or a very short character arc. From the new batch of players shown, I think the most important one is the man in the wheelchair. He's already been featured twice in the teaser and also appears on the official poster for Season 3. With that, we now have confirmation that this mysterious man is not Chota, as many fans speculated, but a completely new character. Whether he's a villain or not is still unknown, but it's clear he'll play an important role, as Netflix dedicated a significant portion of the teaser to him. To put it into perspective, they gave him as much screen time as Myunggi got in the Squid Game teaser, and we all remember how that ended. Next, we're shown one of the games from Season 3, the classic card game Old Maid. The only twist? If you lose, you die. Nothing too serious, right? I'm sure most of you already know how the game works, so I won't spend too much time on that. We also get a look at the relationship between Arisu and Usagi. There's a moment where Usagi says to Arisu, "Your beloved will also be participating," while showing her ring. This most likely implies that Usagi is pregnant and the child will be born before the wedding. Here's a little backstory for those who haven't read the manga. Alice in Borderland originally ended after Arisu and the others woke up in the real world, so this new Joker storyline is entirely created by Netflix. In the original series, the Joker appears briefly after the Queen of Hearts game, and only Arisu and Usagi see him. His role is more symbolic, more like an intermediary or ferryman between the real world and the Borderland. That's why it'll be really interesting to see how Netflix reimagines his role, possibly as the final villain of the story. That being said, there are two separate spin-offs, Alice on Border Road, which focuses on the events before Arisu, and the others arrived in the Borderland, and Alice in Borderland, Retry, which continues the story a bit after the original ending. In Retry, we're shown an older Arisu. He's 26 years old and working as a school counselor and psychologist. He's married to Usagi, and they're expecting a daughter. When Usagi goes into labor, Arisu rushes to the hospital, but he gets hit by a falling billboard and is transported back into the Borderland. There, he plays the Nine of Hearts game. When I first saw the teaser, I thought this game might appear in Season 3, but after a closer look, I dismissed that possibility. Apparently, Netflix is borrowing some elements from Retry, especially the pregnancy and the deepened relationship between Arisu and Usagi. This adds a new emotional layer to Arisu's motivation, not just to survive the games again, but to return to the woman he loves and protect the future they're building together. We'll expand more on that later in the video. Once again, we see the mysterious man in the wheelchair. In the next few seconds of the teaser, it looks like he might be a researcher or doctor. He injects Arisu with something using a syringe. In the very next shot, we get a close-up of Banda and Arisu, making it seem like there's a blood transfusion happening. But this sequence was likely edited deliberately by Netflix to mislead us. The syringe and the close-up scene aren't actually connected. The close-up with Banda and Arisu seems to take place in the abandoned alley, where Banda slips a card into Arisu's pocket and wishes him luck in the game. It's fascinating how Netflix is already setting up a confrontation between Arisu and Banda. Despite some fan theories, I don't believe Banda is the Joker. It would be way too obvious for Netflix to reveal something like that in the teaser. More likely, the Joker would work through players. And seeing how Banda and Yaba are featured during this teaser, it could be that the players who chose citizenship would be the villains and would play against Arisu and the rest. Later in the teaser, we're shown the reason Arisu decides to return to the Borderland. There's a shot of Usagi in a hospital bed, in critical condition. Seeing her like that, Arisu chooses to re-enter the games, hoping to save her from death once again. He even says he's willing to do whatever it takes, even if it means risking his life, as long as there's a chance to save his wife. But the really intriguing question here is, how does Arisu even remember the Borderland? And more importantly, how does he know Usagi is there? Let me give a bit of context, because I've seen this question pop up a lot. What exactly is the Borderland? It's a liminal space between life and death, a place where time is stretched out. Think of it as your final chance at survival. If you've played Call of Duty, it's kind of like the Gulag. Basically, when someone enters the Borderland, they've technically died, but they're given one last opportunity. If they survive all the games, they can choose to return to the real world or stay and start a new life in the Borderland. But here's the twist. If you return to the real world, you lose all your memories of the Borderland. As Arisu says at the beginning of the teaser, I feel like I dreamed about a journey. His mind and body remember something happened, but he can't piece it together consciously. It's more of a lingering feeling than a real memory. This was confirmed at the end of Season 2, where all the surviving players wake up in the hospital but don't recognize each other, even though they fought side by side during the games. All that remains is a strange emotional connection. So the big mystery is, how does the real-world Arisu remember the Borderland at all? And how is he able to access it again? Maybe that's what the syringe scene and the moment with the mysterious door in the middle of a crowded city are about. Maybe someone injected him with something that allows his consciousness to enter the Borderland again. I'm really curious to find out how they explain this, and how the characters slowly begin to remember or realize what the Borderland truly is. Moving on, we get a scene with Arisu that looks like it takes place during the final stage of the games, judging by how dirty and tattered his shirt looks. The player he's facing appears to be Banda. This is the third time Netflix has shown a direct confrontation between Arisu and Banda, which actually makes me think Banda isn't the final villain. It would be way too obvious if he were. And what's with that monitor-like device in Arisu's hand? One thing's for sure, if you zoom in on the bottom right corner, you can clearly see at least 4 player collars. That suggests Arisu had to make some serious sacrifices just to get this far into the game. We also get a look at the original 3 of Club's game from the manga called Good Fortune, Bad Fortune. If you want to hear more about that game, I actually made a separate video covering it in more depth, so check the description after this video if you're interested. Next, we see a woman being electrocuted while holding some cards. This might be what happens when you lose in the old maid game we saw earlier. Then there's another game that involves spinning 4 dice, each a different color. I don't know about you, but my mind immediately went to Dungeons and Dragons because of the dice shapes. Judging by the scene, this could be a clubs game where maybe all the players have to combine their dice to reach a target number. Or it might be a diamonds game, where the outcome is based on whether the sum of the dice is even or odd. One thing I can say for sure is that this person here is the same blue-haired woman we saw earlier, the one who gave off serious villain vibes. If you look closely, the nail polish matches, and the texture of the t-shirt is identical. Even the style of her clothing lines up. However, the backgrounds of the 2 shots don't match, so this might confirm that the blue-haired girl appears in multiple games throughout the season. We also see Usagi participating as a player, and this isn't a flashback, because she's wearing her engagement ring. The deadly moving lasers are most likely from a spades game, where players need to dodge the beams within a time limit. Then there's a scene that looks like a game is taking place at a high elevation. We see someone falling from a height, and at the beginning of the teaser, there's a quick shot of Arisu seemingly drowning. So what if they're playing a game on a high platform where players are forced to jump? The twist could be that there are multiple jumping points. Some lead to the ground and death, while others drop you into water and allow you to survive. In the next shot, we see Usagi during the games, looking at someone with clear distrust. I'm really curious who this player is. Could this be a returning character who betrayed our heroes in the past, or is Netflix introducing a brand new player? Finally, we see a scene of people reaching out and slipping hands, a moment that definitely connects to the first teaser Netflix released for Season 3. In that teaser, Usagi is shown with her arm stretched out, looking shocked as someone falls. These two scenes are likely tied together. It also supports my theory that one of the games takes place at a high elevation, especially when you consider the background, which appears to show a bunch of cranes. Now regarding this next shotgun card, I don't think it's related to the zombie card. I get the feeling these two cards belong to entirely different games. Also, this definitely isn't part of the Old Maid game. In Old Maid, when you draw a matching pair, you lay it down. But in this trailer scene, the player is holding 2 ace of diamonds and 2 3 of diamonds, so no matching is happening here, which makes it unlikely that this is Old Maid. The scene where Arisu is running while 2 people try to tackle him takes place in the same location where we saw the explosion, the mall-type building. It could be that the game reached its time limit, and that's when the bombing started, killing everyone who failed to escape. Maybe that's the challenge. Get out before time runs out or die in the blast. It's possible Arisu finds the exit, only to realize Usagi isn't there. Desperate, he runs back to search for her, but with time running out, he may not make it back in time. Those 2 people might not be enemies. They could actually be trying to stop him from running into certain death. The next 2 shots, where Arisu and Usagi are seen running, appear to take place in the real world, based on their appearances and clothing style. Now this laboratory scene really caught my attention, and I think it might be connected to the zombie card. It looks like it's happening near the end of a game, as we see players being eliminated after failing to meet the challenge. Interestingly, 5 players survive, but it doesn't seem like they cleared the game. Rather, they advanced to the next stage. Usually when a game is completed, the players are removed from the game zone before the killing starts, but here, the lasers are eliminating people right in front of the survivors. We also see that this game involves cards. There's a man on the bottom and a woman here who is holding cards, which suggests that card-based decisions are part of the game's rules. Interesting, one of them survived, while the other one gets eliminated. What makes me think this game ties into the zombie card are 2 things. First, it's card-based, and second, the playing field resembles a laboratory. So maybe the challenge is to find a cure if you're dealt the zombie card. You might have a time limit to either find that cure or pass the zombie card to someone else. I believe this is a hearts game, since the players appear to be eliminated one by one, round after round. That kind of emotional, psychological pressure is typical of hearts games. That said, there's also a chance it could be a diamonds game, especially if strategic card play is at the core of the rules. As for the car crash scene, we really don't get much context. It might just be how one of the main characters enters the Borderland. The next sequence made a lot of people panic, and honestly, if what it suggests actually happens, it could spark a full-blown revolution. Fans are not ready to lose both Gi-hoon and Arisu, especially so close to one another. But personally, I don't think that's what's going on here. The scene is very blurry, which makes me think we might be witnessing another hearts game, possibly from Usagi's perspective, where the game master tries to manipulate her into believing her actions will lead to Arisu's death. We saw something similar in Season 2, during the Queen of Hearts game, where Arisu nearly believed he was in a mental hospital, trapped in a fabricated reality. So it's entirely possible Netflix is playing with that same psychological tension again. Now let's talk about the final scene featuring Usagi. It's masterfully crafted by Netflix, but I managed to uncover a key detail they were clearly trying to hide. Can you spot it? At first glance, nothing seems unusual, but if you slow down the footage and dramatically increase the brightness, you'll notice something. There are actually two people in the shot. Usagi is being held in someone's arms. You can see a hand behind her back, and if you look closely, you can spot part of the other person's neck. So what's going on here? Is this the climax of the season? I'm seriously excited to find out. Why would Netflix go through so much effort to hide this person's identity? Who is it? Let me know your theories in the comments. I'm really curious to hear what you all think. The teaser ends with Arisu looking lost in what appears to be the center of Tokyo, likely the same area that was destroyed by the meteorite. And again, Netflix sneaks in another subtle detail. While everyone else in the scene is walking around, minding their business, there's one person standing completely still, staring directly at Arisu. At first, I thought this might be the first time Arisu re-enters the Borderland, and the person watching him could be the Joker. But then I noticed the bruises on Arisu's face, which makes it clear he's already been through a few games by this point. That suggests this scene happens later in the series. So what's going on here? Is it possible that there are multiple versions of the Borderland? Could Arisu now have the ability to travel between them? Maybe that's what the mysterious door represents. I don't know about you guys, but I'm incredibly excited to see how another one of my favorite series concludes. Hopefully, we'll get a full trailer soon. If Netflix sticks to the same release schedule they used for Squid Game, then we'll probably see the full trailer drop at the end of August. Let me know your thoughts about the teaser, and if I missed anything major, feel free to point it out in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.